Hello and welcome into the show. We're rusty. It's been a week and a half, something like that.
I'm more rusty than I thought, Preston. I went to go type in office.com just now, whenever we started recording. My computer is not in English right now. I don't know what language. I don't know what happened. I don't know what language this is. But let's just say my H is an apostrophe. My O has like a line through it. I don't. Oh wait, hold on. I think I know what it is. There we go. My microphone was on my alt option button. Okay. So yeah, very rusty to start the show.
Yeah, I would imagine if you haven't used your computer in like a week and you open it up and it's in like German or like some Arabic language or something like that, it might be quite jolting. Dang
it. Now I keep putting in the freaking, the authenticator app to log in. Now I press around
the button twice
now.
No one cares about this conversation, but how we have to log into some of the things that we need to use for work, it drives me absolutely crazy.
So this I'm all over the place, dude. I think a lot of people have to use. Maybe like there's a lot of people that have to use this like in the corporate world. So maybe they will relate. My dad just texted me, "Can you chat for a second?" And I kid you not, I sent him the number to my authenticator instead.
The number you need to log in. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. I'm having trouble hearing myself. All right, here we go. Let's get into first of all, by the way, how was your you went skiing, right, or snowboarding, one of the two? How was that?
Yeah, went to New Mexico on a boy ski trip. It was it's one of those things where it's just well needed. It was my first vacation in a long time. When I say a long time, like 6 months, where I was at the same place I went to just over the summer. Red River, New Mexico. Shout out. It was much needed. I am in such a better mood just going to life every day, having a vacation under my belt. I'm gonna go for the next 6 months until I need another like 3 days in the mountains.
I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to plan stuff for Vegas here in May, and Kenny Chesney's going to be in the Sphere while I'm there opening night, and I'm like, do I really like Kenny Chesney? I mean, I like some of his songs. I'm not the biggest fan. Also, it's in the Sphere, so I'm like, I think I'm going to have to be attending that out in Vegas. That should be a fun concert, but that's not why we're here. We are here to talk ball. We had some ball happen the other day. The Eagles down the Commanders, and the Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about the Eagles-Commanders game first. Eagles 55, Commanders 23. And the Eagles, I don't want to say like playing with their food is what they were doing, like in the first half, and somewhat of the third quarter, but it seemed like they wanted the Commanders to get into the game there for a little bit.
Yeah, that first in the first half by the Commanders, when it was 14-12, they get the kickoff, or the Eagles go up 20-14, I believe. They get the kickoff, instantly fumble, stop them on third down. You got to settle for a long field goal, late hit out of bounds. To me, that's when the game was over. You let the Eagles just go up 2 possessions just like that in an arguably 14-point swing. The game was over quick, but yeah, the Eagles did let the Commanders stick around for a while, but after that, in my opinion, there's just no way the Commanders were ever going to.
Yeah, Commanders had 15 points at half, and the Eagles had 20. So it was 20-15 at the half, and the Eagles just in the fourth quarter they put the.
No, it was 27, wasn't it?
Am I doing my? Yeah, I'm wrong. It was 27. It was 27.
I was about to say yeah, exactly. That field goal.
Did my math
I took the Commanders, and that +6. Looking at it now, I'm so bad at this. Just looking at hindsight, or not even hindsight, doing my research hindsight. Because I'm watching the game, and at halftime, I'm literally checking where was all the money coming in on. It was all coming in on the Commanders. Was having a love affair for the Commanders. The play the whole time was the Eagles, and of course, I blocked the Commanders. I took the Commanders. It was always going to be the Eagles just blowing them out. Looking at it now, it's like I said, it's easy to say hindsight. But that's what Vegas was saying.
Yeah.
That's what signs are pointing to. And just listen. Commanders, I'm not going to apologize for betting on something fun.
Look, I placed a wager on the Commanders +6 as well. So we're in the same boat. I thought, you know what?
They even sprinkled money line.
Yeah. I didn't go that far. I did not go that far. I thought a lot of people probably thought that this game was going to be a little bit closer than what it was. I thought the Eagles would win, right? But I thought the Commanders could keep it close. And the fourth quarter, and the Eagles scoring 21 points to the Commanders scoring 0 in the fourth quarter. It's just kind of when the Eagles put their foot on the necks of the Commanders, and we're like, all right, no, we're taking this game and we're going to the Super Bowl. Having Saquon Barkley should be illegal because it seems like every play he's picking up at least 10 yards. So it should be illegal for them to have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he had a hat trick yesterday. Obviously, the first play from scrimmage was a 60-yard run or whatever it was.
He had like two carries and 2 touchdowns there in the first quarter.
Yeah. The Tom Brady was joking how he needs a rest because he has 3 carries for like 84 yards or something.
Yeah,
so he's did his fair share already.
It was a crazy game. The Eagles, like I said, I mean, they just let the Commanders hang around there a little bit, and then went after it there in the fourth. Do you think that this is kind of like a one-hit wonder situation with the Commanders? Do you think that Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels have built something special there?
I mean, I'm not going to go far and say they built something special yet. They obviously have a long way to go. Probably still a season or two away, but they have a bunch of draft capital. They have I think they have the most cap money to use this offseason. I think it's 100 million or something. So I think they got a bright future ahead. Obviously, getting rid of Dan Snyder. Which did you read that article of?
I saw parts of it. I didn't read the whole thing.
I didn't read the whole thing, so it was really long. But I read a big portion of it. Getting Josh Harrison there really makes a world of a difference because that article goes to show how bad of a guy Dan Snyder is and how absolutely no one liked him. He's trying to buy a Premier League team now. That's his next goal, which good luck being an owner of a Premier League team with those fans because they might actually just come hunt you down and burn you on a stake in the middle of
they're awful nutty over there on that side of the pond.
It's not corporate like it is over here in America. Like that is do or die. That is do or die there.
Yes, 100%. I mean they even the Premier League fans even go as far to say is like they don't want it here in America. They want it to be just their own little thing over there. I see clips.
They don't want to grow the game. They're
why are we trying to Americanize the game of football? And it's like, well, I mean, people over here like to watch it. So but with the Commanders, though, I think they do have the right ownership in there. I think they have an owner that's going to sit back and let the coach in the front office control the show, and he's just going to sit back and do what good owners should do in the NFL. Yeah, I think the Commanders have a bright future, and I think Jaden Daniels, I mean, he arguably just had the best rookie season ever, especially in the postseason, or one of. So, I mean, I think they have a really bright future. Obviously, a long way to go, but if you're a Commanders fan, I think there's a lot of good you can take away from this season. Absolutely. I mean, no one expected them to make it to the NFC Championship game anyways.
No one expected to beat the Lions.
Exactly.
I mean, I thought the Bucs were probably going to beat them. So, I mean, just for them to even get here was absolutely incredible.
100%. So, again, Eagles down the Commanders 55-23. And then in Kansas City, the Chiefs take down the Buffalo Bills 32-29. The bad man just keeps winning. Teabag. The bad man just keeps winning. That's all he does is he wins football games and just shoves it right in my face.
Happened again. It happened again.
Who would have thought?
Seriously. Who would have guessed that one? Again, took Bills. Money line. I took him on the money line because the point spread was so low. Just if you're going to just might as well go on the money line at that point.
I did as well, yeah.
When will we learn? When will we learn? When will everyone learn?
Never.
And you know what? As far as I think the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, and I'm probably going to bet them that game as well. Which I will have to have another learning lesson when all that happens. Yeah, I mean, it's just what the Chiefs do. They strike on the opportunities. They played good football. I mean, the Bills played good football, but The Chiefs defense is just out of this world. Made stops they needed to against Josh Allen. They came prepared. Like that first drive for the Bills was just bad, really bad.
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs get the ball, go down and instantly score. They were prepared. It's just a never-ending cycle of hell for the Bills, it seems, in these spots. They play the Chiefs in the AFC. They play the Chiefs better than anyone, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's just still not enough to beat them. I mean, outside the Bengals, I guess the Bengals are the one team outside, the Brady Patriots and Mahomes' first year. But since they've won their first Super Bowl in 2019, Joe Burrow is the only team to take them down, and they get their revenge the very next season. So you can really say the Bengals, I guess, might be the only team where Joe Burrow, that is, this Bengals team's a lot different than the one we saw 2-3 years ago when they're in the Super Bowl and AFC Championship. But yeah, I mean, it's just the Chiefs just came prepared. The tush push that the Bills kept doing, I saw you tweeted about it. I don't know why they kept doing that. You got James Cook back there.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, as great as he is, there's one spot you can maybe criticize him on. He doesn't go low enough on the tush push. He just stands straight up, and low man wins in football. And Josh Allen was going low on the tush push, and they did it 5 times, only converted one of them, I think.
I believe so.
I think that's what it was. But yeah, I mean, it's just Chiefs did it again. It's that simple.
And then as far as 2-point conversions go, what they failed to, the Buffalo Bills did. So right there, I mean, you get those, you win by a point in this game, right? Because you lose by 3 on that field goal. And by the way, there was a moment in this game where it looked like the Bills were just going to take the game and get it in their grasp and run away with it, and then they just flounder there because the Chiefs didn't score any points in the third quarter. The Bills only put up 6, and then I think that's when they came down in the start of the fourth. They scored a touchdown, and then Kansas City scored, and then did the Bills score a touchdown, and then Kansas City had to come down to get it to win. That's what happened. So that's how it happened. But yeah, it felt like the momentum was all on the Bills' side there for just a moment in that game, and then they just completely lost it.
Yeah, and then whenever the Bills settled for that field goal, and the Chiefs went for that touchdown, or was it opposite? Touchdown.
Bills scored to tie it at 29, and then the Chiefs went and kicked the
field goal. And then and Buffalo got the 4th down every time I make, because they're like, well, the Bills can still get the ball back, and I said the Bills aren't getting the ball back.
Yeah, there was zero
First down on second down, and then first down on second down again, just right after that, and then ball. There was
zero doubt in my mind that the Chiefs were I always knew that they were going to be able to pick up a first down in that situation. That was just always going to happen.
There's some Piran too.
Yeah, exactly. So
also, do we need to start talking about the Bills maybe having like a curse of the Great Bambino? Because I saw this from Nick Wright. I don't know if it's older. It just popped on my feed late last night. It was great, and I don't know if it was from that day or when, but it looked like it wasn't from that night because he was like in the studio. Could have been in the studio last night for all I know. Anyway, not the point. He was talking about how the Bills traded the 10 pick to the Chiefs for them to draft Patrick Mahomes, and they were like,
really?
Nathan Peterman and Tyrod Taylor for another year. Now it works out because the Bills get Josh Allen the following draft.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they traded that pick for the Chiefs to get Mahomes. The Bills just might have a curse against the Chiefs. Now, everyone has a curse against the Chiefs, but it seems like the Bills just find ways to lose in the most heartbreaking ways against the Chiefs. Yeah. So we might start talking about a curse, because that's now 4 losses in the playoffs to Mahomes and the Chiefs, which is just brutal.
Yeah.
Also, did you see Josh Allen's post game, the beginning of it?
I did not.
He gets to the podium, and he just has the 1,000-year glare. I don't want to be here. And he closes his eyes and opens them, and they ask the first question. And the first question was just, what's it like losing to this team yet again? And he closes his eyes, and he's like, yeah. Like, it was the most, like, I'd rather be on the sinking ship of the Titanic jumping into the freezing water than be in this press conference right now. It was demoralizing. I felt for Josh. That was you could see it in his eyes. Just He did not want to be there. He was crushed, just absolutely crushed. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I'm not even a Bills fan, and I was sad for him. And I know you're the biggest Chiefs hater I know. Obviously, being a Chargers fan, divisional rival from Kansas City, so I can only imagine how you feel. I could only imagine how people in Buffalo feel on top of all that.
Yeah, no, it's. I don't know when or how we stop this. I've been trying to workshop like some type of cocktail we might have to like make or something, and everyone drinks to get through with the curse and all that stuff. But they Chiefs just have a stranglehold on the AFC right now. And Patrick Mahomes has a stranglehold on all the AFC quarterbacks. Right, because as good as all the quarterbacks in the AFC are, no one can beat Patrick Mahomes.
No,
Nobody.
And he just turns it on to a different level whenever it becomes a championship game, whether it's the AFC championship for the Super Bowl. He just turns it on to a whole different level.
Yeah, it just seems, and I know it's not true because I don't think he completed every single pass the other day, but it seems like he completes every single pass that he makes.
He runs better.
Yes, exactly.
43 rush yards last night.
Just makes me mad. And then I had to sit up there during the Thunder game as well, and you have Matt Ravis who. His fiance has corrupted him and turned him into a Chiefs fan now. So you have Matt Ravis there banging on the table for every damn touchdown and big play. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, thank God that they're not playing the Chargers today because I might have to jump through this glass here and beat the hell out of Matt Ravis.
That's how I know Matt Ravis is just totally in love, is because he went from just a average Rob Will NFL hat, just average NFL fan. Didn't have a team, and he meets this girl and he becomes a diehard Chiefs fan. It's like, that's how you know Matt Ravis really fell in love. Yeah. Obviously engaged to get married now, so congrats to them. But yeah, it's just he's become a big Chiefs fan because of his fiance, grew up Kansas City Chief. But one last question on this game I have for you, Preston.
Yeah.
Obviously, wound is still fresh for everyone in this game. Do the Bills maybe need to look at a coaching change? Because Sean McDermott's a great coach.
Yeah.
He's turned that organization around. He's helped Josh Allen develop. But at some point, you're 0 for 4. And the Chiefs. You're 0 for 5 or 0 for 6 right now in the playoffs with Josh Allen. At some point, do you just think maybe we just got to move on?
I would hesitate on saying yes because who out there are you going to get to be the head coach, right?
It's like the Ohio State Ryan Day, except Ryan Day ends up winning the national championship this year. But it's kind of like that, where it's like can't beat Michigan, can't kind of get it done, but like who are you going to go get that's better, especially right now?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, are you going to pull the Raiders move and go hire an old ass head coach? Who's just
Belichick.
Yeah, it's called Belichick and see if he'll come coach the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting question because I kind of thought heading into this season, when it came to him, that they needed to perform because obviously everyone knew, and even they've said it, that this was kind of like a rebuilding, retooling year for them, getting rid of a bunch of guys on both sides of the ball after last season. So
they did exceed expectations.
100%. And so I thought this was a big year for him in that fact. But I want to sit here and talk bad about all these good quarterbacks about how they can't get it done, but nobody can. The fact is that nobody can other than one guy.
It's the inevitable. It's just the inevitable. And they got
it is.
I mean, you got the best head coach in the league, you got the best quarterback in the league, and then you got Steve Spagnuolo with one of the best defenses in the league, with the best secondary in the league, great defensive line, great front seven. I mean, it's just a great
and
kicker.
They haven't had the best offense, exactly.
I mean, they haven't even had the best
offense this year.
No, they just
it's just been their defense and Mahomes.
And then now it's like, all right, Mahomes like, all right, the defense is going to begin to make a few stops for last night, but obviously Josh Allen is going to get his, and he did. But the defense made plays when they had to, and then Mahomes just like, you did enough for me to go out and win this game because I'm Patrick Mahomes, and that's just what I'm going to do.
Exactly. I am kind of glad that I don't have to see Matt Collins show up to the Super Bowl barefoot because every time I see him walk into anything, it just pisses me off that there's someone that actually just walks around in the snow barefoot like a lunatic.
He lays in the snow too. Like I've seen that. on my feed.
It makes me so mad. You don't have to be so in tune with the earth that you walk around barefoot everywhere. Okay, throw some shoes on, man. It's not a big deal. Plus, showing up. By the way, I completely thought that was Elmo that he showed up as. It was not. I've never heard of Animal before.
I had no idea.
So I had no clue. That was the first time I've ever heard of that character. I was like, why the hell is he dressed up like an emo Elmo right now?
I know it.
But apparently it's called Animal. So who knew? All right, so Eagles, Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We'll break that down at a later date. We're still over a week and a half away now at this point from that game. One thing we do need to talk about, how about the Chicago Bears, your Chicago Bears? They hired Ben Johnson, who was the offensive coordinator with the Lions for the last 2 or 3 seasons. And now he's set to take over the mess that is the Chicago Bears.
I mean, I'm excited. Bears did the right thing. They got the right coach. They opened up the checkbook for him. Like the rumor I think I saw was like $14 million a year, which I'm surprised that they actually did that. Maybe they're realizing that they have a gift with Caleb Williams. That it's like, oh wait, this guy could be a really good quarterback for us and make us really good for the next 10 years, 10 plus years. So they did the right thing. They went out and got Ben Johnson. They made a offensive. They got their coordinators yesterday. Declan Doyle from the Broncos, who's 28 years old. Preston.
Yeah, I would say young guy. Yeah,
makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, I mean, but they think he's one of the bright young offensive minds of the league. And they got Dennis Allen, which, Dennis Allen, not the best head coach, but he's a great defensive coordinator. Steve Spagnuolo was an awful head coach, which is the reason he hasn't gotten a job since.
Yeah.
Great defensive coordinator. Sometimes it's just how it is. So I'm excited for the offensive defensive side of the ball this year. I think the Bears need to fix the offensive line. There's a lot to fix. They're not going to be Super Bowl they're not going to do what the Commanders did next year, but I think they can make a big leap and they compete for the playoffs. Now I sound like a broken record saying that because I've been saying that every single year for the last 2020, I guess, when they made the playoffs as a 7th, they got smoked by the Saints. But nonetheless, I think they can have a good team next year. But I mean, the Bears are still the Bears until proven otherwise. So I'm excited, and I think this could finally be it. These are the best decisions the Bears made going back. Even last year, drafting Caleb, drafting Roman Dunze, going all out on offense, getting good guys on the defensive side of the ball. It didn't work because the culture and everything last year was just awful with the Bears. It was probably the lowest of the lows, but they've made. With all that said, they've still made some moves. They're like, this is the same old Bears, even though on the field it's the same old Bears. And what they do behind the scenes last year was, I sound so delusional right now if you can't tell. Like I'm talking myself out of it, but I also know.
No, I think it was a good hire. Yeah. I thought it was a good hire, and whenever I think of like teams like the Bears who have just been in a team for 1,000 years at this point, it seems like to me it feels like whenever they need to get something done, they just go underneath like their stadium into like a big vault that has like hundreds of millions of dollars that's just been sitting there since like the 1920s, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's time to dip into this so we can actually start maybe winning some football games. So maybe that's what they had to do to lure Ben Johnson away from the Detroit Lions.
Another thing too, this just reminded me, Ben Johnson chose Caleb Williams too. Like out of all the jobs out there, he chose Caleb Williams. So that made me, Caleb had a good season. All things considered, he went through 2 head coaches and 3 different play callers. He saw 3,500 yards and 20 touchdowns. So he had a decent season for a rookie. Like there's been a lot worse rookie seasons that have gone on to have good careers. So I still am a high believer in Caleb. Caleb was not the issue this last season. Obviously, he had his rookie growing pains and he had some bad games along the way, but he also had those like moments where like there's something here. Ben Johnson chose Caleb Williams. So
no, well, I mean, we'll see. I think it's a great hire. I think that was like the number one guy out there, and the Bears said, you know what, let's go get him. So, who was not the number one guy out there is Brian Schottenheimer, who gets hired by the Dallas Cowboys. Jared Jones decides, you know what, we're gonna keep our OC here and make him a head coach to maybe please Dak. I don't know, but questionable hire. Your thoughts on Schottenheimer getting the job with the Cowboys?
So, sorry, I had a burp. I can feel that one coming. So, not to say I've been a Jerry defender, because obviously he's done some.
There's not many of those around these days.
There's not many of them, but what I've always said about Jerry is at least like he like cares and he's trying. This one is like what? Like what? It makes no sense at all. He wasn't even calling the plays last year for the Cowboys, and they were 7-10. Like they weren't good. And Dak was there, but they were good when Dak was playing. He wasn't even calling the plays last year, and he hired this guy. And then Jerry said today, I don't have the quote in front of me, but pretty much just threw like the dose of "I have no confidence in this guy" kind of quote.
It's like a word salad.
This is the riskiest hire I can. Yeah, this is the riskiest hire I ever. Get someone to take risk. It's like, yeah, that's a way to convince everyone that you got your guy. It's just I'm getting to the point now where it's like I almost feel for Cowboys fans. Like I want them to be just good enough again to like. I love the Cowboys the first 4 years of Mike McCarthy, the 12 losing the playoffs. I don't like the Cowboys just sucking, and I think they're just going to completely suck under Brian Schottenheimer. So yeah. Like I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. Like I said, I don't feel all too bad for you guys because I'm not a Cowboys fan at all. But I do miss the days of at least the Cowboys being relevant enough to get to the playoffs and then watching them lose.
At least we won't have to hear the "this is our year" stuff from the Cowboy fans.
Don't count them out. Don't count them out.
How about the Raiders hiring the ghost of Pete Carroll? When they went up, they got Pete Carroll's old ass, and they said, "You know what? Who's better than an ESPN employee to coach our football team? How about an 80-year-old Pete Carroll? We'll get him back out on the sideline and coach our football team."
Pete Carroll, though, like I saw some clips on Twitter of his press conference today. He's still got that juice. He's still young at heart. I don't hate it. Like, it's not the best hire in the world, obviously. When you're with the Raiders right now, you see a complete culture change just everywhere. I don't think Pete Carroll's the worst option out there. Obviously, like, first things first, they got to go find themselves a quarterback. Will that happen this year in the draft or in free agency? I don't know. Stay tuned to find out via Adam Schefter updates. But I don't think it's the worst hire in the world, but then it's not splashy. Like, this is set us up for the next 10 years. No, I think this is kind of a 3 or 4 year culture change, and just try to get something shifted. So that's just really the way I see it right now.
This is not a Las Vegas hire. Okay, Las Vegas hire would have been Deion Sanders coming in to be the head coach, and I personally. The Raiders are like a rival team for my Chargers, but I personally would have loved that because I think that Deion just fits the Raider like mold, right? Like shove it in your face, like in your face type stuff.
You would have Reed and Mahomes, then Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, and Deion Sanders in the same division. It'd been awesome. Awesome. But I mean, like I said, like the Raiders. I think right now the Raiders, they're not in a really they're in a spot where they have such a far way to go. Yeah. And I just think that Pete Carroll just might just a guy to come and just help turn around a culture and show you what winning can look like if you do it the right way.
Speaking about doing it the right way, one person that's not doing it the right way is Jimmy Butler as we switch to the association.
I'm so confused by all this. Like I saw he's suspended indefinitely, but
I am so tired of hearing about Jimmy Butler. So if you haven't heard, Monday afternoon, early evening, Shams Charania tweets out that Jimmy Butler walked out of Heat practice on Monday because the Heat informed him Haywood Highsmith would be starting in his place going forward. Jimmy Butler obviously didn't like that. Now Jimmy Butler is also trying to get traded from the Miami Heat, and he is making it as difficult as possible for the Heat to trade him because he is playing all of these dumbass games and he's getting a whole lot of dumbass prizes.
Yeah, who's going to trade for him? with that contract and his age and his antics right now, who's going to trade for him?
Nobody should. I mean, it's probably going to be like the Suns are probably going to do it since they just got all those picks last week. But
yeah, John Wall is in a trade clause, so he's going to have to agree to go there.
Yeah,
they're not getting rid of KD or Book.
I just think that Matt Ishbia has the fantasy basketball mind. And so he's like, well, Bradley Beal isn't working out for us. So let's go get Jimmy Butler, who's going to come in and work out for us. So I don't know. I think if you trade for him, it's a dumb move at this point. If you're one of those teams, let him sit there and rot in Miami, where he supposedly has no joy making millions and millions of dollars in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
I look. I don't think that it'd be too hard for me to find joy living in South Beach, making millions and millions of dollars. So playing
Cry Me a River.
So, yes.
Yeah, Cry Me a River. Jimmy Butler is. He's one of those guys where he was really likable for those 2 of those 3 years in Miami. They took him to the finals unexpectedly, and then just the bubble year, and then the year they played the Nuggets. I guess that was 2 out of 4, 3, whatever it was. But yeah, I'm over it. I'm over it. I do think I saw this one. I just been kind of looking at the roster because, I mean, as you know, Preston, you have to make the salaries work in the NBA. I think it's maybe a team to look for now. I wouldn't do if I was them because I think they're in a really good spot right now with their culture, and don't mess that up for a guy like Jimmy Butler. I think a team maybe like the Pistons could trade for Jimmy Butler. Got Tobias Harris on $25 million a year. Tim Hardaway Jr., who's a key piece to them, but he's making 16. So got the tradable contracts to make it work if they wanted to. Maybe that's a team you keep an eye out on.
If I'm Pat Riley,
I wouldn't do it.
If I'm Pat Riley and the Pistons call me wanting Jimmy Butler, I'm getting his ass on the first bus out of town up to Detroit. So you can't be happy in Miami playing basketball. Well, go up to Detroit and see if you can.
They're good this year. They're better this year.
Still, you're moving from Miami to Detroit. I mean, come on.
It's like Jared Goff. I mean, he even said, whenever I realized I was moving from LA to Detroit, it was a tough pill to swallow.
And I know that they don't stay there year round, but still, you're still.
It's a winter sport, though.
Yeah,
the NBA is a winter sport. Yes. You're not Detroit in the summer when it's 85 degrees and beautiful every day.
Yeah,
you're there when it's not fun.
Exactly. How about our Thunder back to winning after they dropped one to Dallas on Thursday of last week? It seems to me they've had a first quarter, not a first quarter problem, I should say, but a getting out of the gate problem here recently. The Thunder have.
Yeah, they had to climb back yesterday. I had that game on the second TV, so I was obviously watching the NFL games first TV. Had my eye on the Thunder game. My main takeaway though is it's just I don't know why he didn't play more against the Mavs, because every time he was on the court, it just felt like that he was bringing the energy and what the Thunder needed. I'm talking about Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
I mean, last night's another good example. He goes 1 for 6 shooting, had 3 points, but plus 21 leads the team in plus minus. When he's on the court, it's not there offensively, but just there's something with that energy level he brings that obviously, I mean, his plus minus just goes to show for it. When he's on the court, the team just plays better no matter what he does on the offensive side of the ball.
It's the defensive energy for sure. I mean, he's a menace on the defensive end. You have Kaysen, who had to play with the mask on last night, last night against I'm blanking Portland. Last night against Portland, which Portland tried to make that a basketball. It did really make it a basketball game there late in the fourth quarter, and the Thunder, kind of quit playing with their food and took the lead there. Here's an interesting take here that Gideon and Matt had last night on the Thunder recap after that game. Do you think that Oklahoma City quietly suspended Lou Dort for a game after hitting Daniel Gafford in the Family Jewels?
I'm going to say no, but I'm not going to discount. I'm not going to say
it's an interesting theory, is it not?
Because if they're to quietly suspend someone, just be like, hey, we're suspending you, but we're not leaking it to anyone. You got to hurt whatever it is. It would be the Thunder. That's a good question. I'm going to say no. Let's say no, but I'll buy tinfoil hat on him for that one.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I think it was probably just rest because it was Portland and they didn't really need Dort against Portland.
Yeah.
With Caruso and then Case and Wallace healthy. So I don't think they really needed him. But if you sat down and said, "Hey, I think that Lou Dort got quietly suspended for a game, and that's why he didn't play in Portland," I'd be like, I kind of get that because that was a dirty play, and let's be honest, we're Thunder fans, but Lou Dort has, as of recently, has been playing a little bit more dirty in some of these games. So maybe it was kind of like, hey, man, we need to cool it down a little bit on some of this stuff.
This circle of trust right here. I totally understand if you're the Thunder fan how you don't like Lou Dort. I get it. But he's my guy, and I'm going to ride or die for him because he's my guy, and he's my dirty player, and I love him. Yeah. He's not Draymond dirty. He's not Draymond dirty. Like, this would be
no. Yeah.
But or Grace Allen stuff, yeah. That Gafford thing was pretty bad. But then again, I think that's just the heat of the rivalry, too. I don't think he's doing that against Golden State tomorrow or something.
Yeah, no, and the extra like kicking out of legs and stuff like that. You can't be doing that. So, but look. You don't show up to the torture chamber and expect for a nice, easy night. All right. So I'll add that as well. But I can understand how people would be mad at him.
I was in Dallas on Saturday. I had a friend's tradition party thing they do in Prosper. Then went down to Dallas after. Was with a bunch of Mavs fans. I know them. I met most of them, through buddies that live there and stuff that I met in college. But I'm decent acquaintances with them. I've been thrown in group text with them during the Mavericks Thunder games. Like people I've met like 3 times in my life.
Yeah.
But I was talking to them, and they hate Lou Dort. Like they hate him. And they tell you in advance, like, I hope you understand why. I'm like, no, I do, but.
Oh, it's just like Thunder fans hate PJ Washington.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. Like PJ Washington, that's like at least Lou Dort would actually like. If PJ Washington, Lou Dort got a fight, Lou Dort be ready to go. PJ Washington probably be like, oh, my hand hurts, I can't fight. Yeah, he's a fake type guy. At least Lou's actually like, hey, I'm gonna give it to you.
That's good stuff. Up next, the Warriors on Wednesday evening.
Good break this week. Good break this week.
Next couple weeks.
And for you, I mean, you obviously only have to, for 6 days, you only have to work one night. Well, for the Thunder production.
Yeah.
But the downside to that is it's a 9 p.m. tip, which might be a 15 tip.
So I'm heading down to Texas this weekend, so I won't be there for that game. So I've got a night off this week. So I think I can stick it out for 9 p.m. Tip, which by the way, there's not many left, which thankfully there's not many left of the late tips. So that works in my favor as well.
I hate until the playoffs roll around, Preston, and then
yes. Oh yeah, all those will be 8:30s for sure, 100%. The good thing is those games aren't like back-to-backs or anything.
Yeah,
those are like,
and it's also the playoffs, so it's like you got a little bit like you just sacrifice the sleep during the playoffs. That's what we do, City.
Before we get out of here, I did want to mention college basketball. By saying that, I watched college basketball the other day. That's just what I wanted to mention about it. So I know there's people that'll be like, NBA and NFL aren't the only things going on right now. It's like, all right, well, here's me mentioning college basketball for you.
Me mentioning college basketball, I watched like 2 weeks ago. Texas Tech beat Iowa State, or Iowa State beat Texas Tech on the road. I watched like pretty much an entire game. It was fantastic. I loved it. I haven't watched a game since then, which is weird because I had so much fun watching that one. I have watched a couple of Cooper Flag. I have kept my eye on OSU, but I've kind of started leaning away from OSU because they're not even because they're bad. It's just because they're bad to watch.
Yeah.
Like if they're losing, it's one thing. Like if they're losing and playing good, it's one thing. They're just not even fun to watch. That's me mentioning college basketball. Shout out OSU women's basketball though, 17-3. So shout out to
and Oklahoma's as well. Their women's team is pretty good this year as well. And it's crazy how like both the women's teams are good and both the men's team. It's just you want to gouge your eyes out whenever you watch them play because it's just disgusting basketball.
OSU mentioned wrestling real quick. OSU dueled Iowa State on national TV yesterday, ESPN.
I did see that, yeah.
During the playoffs, NFL playoffs, so I'm sure viewership wasn't all too high. Nonetheless, one there. But OSU is now at the point. Now, wrestling's always had a good draw at OSU. The draw's even better this year with the excitement of Taylor, the new head coach.
Yeah.
But we're officially at the point now where wrestling is significantly having a bigger attendance than basketball. Like, significantly.
Yeah.
Like, probably, I think wrestling's probably averaging 10,000 in Galgriba, holds 13,000, probably averaging 10,000. Basketball's probably like 4 or 5.
Wow,
average.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know those numbers off the top of my mind, but I see the pictures and stuff. Galgriba for wrestling duels is, all but sold out, and then basketball is a sad state of affairs.
That's crazy. That is crazy. By the way, before we get out of here, one final thing for me: the NBA having one single basketball game on last night, and it's the one that I have to work. Just kind of really pissed me off a little bit.
The entire league. Yes. One game.
There's two teams that played last night. They played each other, and it was Oklahoma City and Portland. I'm like, dude, come on.
Why?
Saturday night? Yeah. Like, give me a 9 p.m. tip on Saturday night. I'll take that over, one of the biggest football Sundays of the year. But that's just me bitching and moaning there a little bit. All right, we'll be back later in the week. We'll try also to get one in on Sunday as well. I don't know what time I'll be back from Texas on Sunday, but we'll try and sneak one in there. But for sure, probably on Thursday, if our schedules work out, we'll be back. And we'll be live for that one. We just had some issues getting live in time tonight. So we just wanted to record it and put it out for you guys on the Tuesday. But yeah, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Pretty. It's sad time in our lives now. I mean, we still have the Thunder, obviously, but like we just mentioned, one Thunder game this week all week.
Yeah.
And then, one NFL game left, one football game left altogether. So, yeah, just it's that lull.
Got to figure something out, man. We got to figure what to do.
I don't know what I'm going to do tonight to entertain myself. I don't know. College basketball on there, yes.
Yeah, that's probably
it's college basketball. You know what? I'll watch college basketball tonight. I'll watch that awful Duke NC State game on ESPN until halftime, and I'll go to bed.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Until next time, have a great one, everyone. See ya.